this is Mitch from Castro Valley Fitness. How you doing? Beautiful Tuesday out. So last week's video about setups got a lot of people talking and asking me some questions. So what I thought I'd do this week is go over my personal setups for the three-man lifts, squat, bench, and deadlift. This is not necessarily what should work for you or what might work for you or not, but it's going to give you an idea of what I do every single time, the things that I think about, what I'm trying to feel when I'm set up. Again, I use these setups whether it's an empty bar or an absolute PR attempt and everywhere in between. So it's crucial, and let's get going. We're going to start with our squat. Okay, so I'm going to run this down literally from everything I do, and I'm going to give you a quick reason behind it. Okay, so first thing I do when I approach the bar is I'm going to get my hands exactly where I want them. I'm going to get them even on the bar. I do that first thing, and when I grab the bar, I'm not just laying my hands in there, I'm grabbing it. I'm trying to really choke the life out of that bar. That's going to get me tight, give me kind of that sense of tightness, really, just from doing that, right into my lats, right into everything else. From here, I go underneath that bar, and I'm going to get my feet set, okay? And I'm going to walk this out, so I want my feet even. They don't have to be perfect, but I want them even right now. And I'm actively, at this point, trying to wedge myself underneath the bar, okay? I'm squeezing my lats in order to get that bar to be a part of my body so that every move I make, that bar is going to follow me, and I'm not going to have to fight for stability. I'm applying that stability for myself. I'm then going to set my core, and as always, when you set your core, you're not sucking in, you're actually blowing out. I got a million videos on that in case you have any questions about that. So again, hands set, wedge myself underneath that bar, actively pull that bar into my back, into my lats and my shoulders. I'm getting that bar to rest right on that shoulder shelf that I'm creating by squeezing my lats nice and tight. I'm going to stand up, step back, and then from here what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the floor with my feet. You can't see my feet, but they're placed evenly. I'm going to grab the floor. I'm thinking heel, big toe, little toe, grab the floor. If I'm standing on a towel, I'm going to try to pull that towel apart. What that's going to do is it's going to give me tension coming right through my legs, right into my hips and hamstrings. I'm still actively pulling my lats down, and now I'm ready to squat. Now the one thing, we talked about the one thing to think about, the one thing that I think about when I squat is my right knee, okay? I'm going to push my hips back, and then from here, it's just all about pushing my right knee out the whole time. That's all I'm thinking about, okay? So that is my setup for squat. Let's move on to bench press. All right, we're back. We're going to move on to bench press now. So for many people, actually, they don't think of it, but this is probably the hardest setup, the most technical setup is for the bench, okay? So here's how I do it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lie back on the bench. I bring my feet up on the bench. Again, this is not necessarily what everyone does. It's not necessarily what you have to do, but it's what I do. So I'm going to give you the reason behind it. I'm going to get my hands where I want them on that bar, just like the deadlift. When I grab the bar, I'm going to try to choke the life out of it. I'm just going to choke it and try to pull that bar apart, try to almost bend the bar in half. That's going to start to get my lats engaged. Okay? One thing you'll see on all three lifts, the lats, which are these muscles kind of right through here in your back, they're really responsible for all the stability you have in your upper body. Okay? Core and lats, all right? So the lats and core are going to be crucial for all these lifts and getting them set. So what I'm going to do, again, get my hands even, choke that bar, try to bend it apart. From here, this is kind of a little thing that I do. I'm going to press myself up and kind of work myself down into the bench. Okay, as I'm working myself down, what I'm trying to do is actively squeeze my shoulder blades together the whole time, okay? With my feet, what I'm trying to do is push my upper back into the bench as hard as I can. So I'm trying to squeeze my shoulder blades together into the bench, and I'm actively pushing them into the bench with my feet, okay? So I work myself down as I get tighter and tighter. I'm going to hold that position, and now with my feet, what I'm going to try to do is push myself, so I'm kind of almost rolling my upper back into the bench. Boom. So I'm here with that tightness, and then when I push back, I'm trying to almost roll myself back even a little more to get tighter up here under the bar. So you'll see how that works. Here. Okay? Come on. Squeeze that,
push into the bench, push up, and I'm trying to almost wedge myself into under the bar here. Okay, get myself as tight as I can. I'm putting pressure on the bar, so that, again, I'm staying nice and tight into the bench. I'm using the bar to help me push into the bench, okay? I'm not just lying here. From here, I'm going to lower myself down, but I'm going to do that while keeping the same tension in my upper back. So not just lowering myself down and relaxing, I'm going to keep that same tension as I lower myself down, put my feet down, get them nice and tight. I'm now going to push my feet into the floor as hard as I can, pushing my heels into the floor, not my toes, my heels into the floor. So again, I'm thinking of using my feet to push my upper back into the bench. I pull the bar out. So again, one thing, this is a crucial thing a lot of people miss. A lot of people think when they're coming out of the rack, they want to go up and out. But if you notice, what happens there is I lose all my tightness in my shoulders. So I'm going to get here. I'm going to pull the bar straight out to maintain that tightness. And now the one thing that I'm going to think about here is my right shoulder blade. I want to make sure my right shoulder blade is getting pushed into the bench the whole way through. Okay?
There's a lot going on in the bench setup. So there you go for that. Now we're going to move on to deadlift. Okay, so now we're going to move on to deadlift. This is probably, from a setup standpoint, the easiest and simplest lift to set up for. It's really just a couple of things that you got to watch out for here. So what I'm going to do when I'm setting up for my deadlift, make sure I'm centered on the bar. It's right where I want it to be, that my feet are kind of positioned where I want them to be, which, now we're going to use a trap bar here. There's also a straight bar deadlift, which is a little different, but I want to make sure my feet are centered right where they want to be. From here, I'm going to stand up as tall as I can. I'm going to squeeze my lats together. Again, there are those lats again, very crucial. Squeeze those lats together in this position so that I'm very tight. I'm going to set my core right here. I'm going to push my hips back, trying to keep my back very straight on the way down to that bar. And then from here, the only thing I'm going to think about is squeeze that bar, and I'm going to push my feet into the floor, okay? So this is one of the crucial things with the deadlift, is I'm not lifting the bar with my arms. I'm pushing into the ground with my feet. So again, lats tight, core set, stand on up. The one thing I'm thinking about with my deadlift is I'm just thinking about keeping nice and tall. So I like to tell my clients, if I have a logo on my shirt, I want to make sure that when I'm deadlifting, you can see that logo the whole time. In other words, I don't want that. You can't see the logo here, you can see it here. So that's all I'm thinking about with my deadlift. And that's what we got there. Okay, so those are my three basic setups for the three main lifts, and I kind of give you an idea of what I'm looking for. If you notice, the kind of overriding theme there is setting the core and lats staying tight. That has to do with every lift. The crucial thing to think about with all of this stuff is this applies to every single exercise, not just the three I showed you here today. Every exercise you do, whether it's a push-up, whether it's a row, whether it's anything else, if you get your setup organized and you start to feel what the exercise is supposed to do for you, this is going to do a couple things that are really important and very helpful. Number one is it's going to allow you to get the most out of that particular exercise, whatever that is. The other thing is it's going to allow you to feel the exercise so you'll know when you start to deviate with your form. So the classic example of that is I see people doing doing rows of different kinds, and they start to elevate those shoulders up. They just kind of grab the band or the bar or whatever tool they're using there, and they're not engaged or not set up. As you know, like an example set up for a row would be grab the implement, whatever it is, a bar, band, whatever, set your lats, and then you can start to move in the way that you're supposed to move, and you'll actually feel it in your shoulder blades here, as opposed to just kind of grabbing it and absent-mindedly, jamming those shoulders up. So the setup is going to help you with that. It's going to help you feel everything you're supposed to feel with that exercise and get the most out of it. So if you have any questions on what you should be doing with your setup, if you have any questions on what I showed you with my setups today, just let me know. Have a great day.